So I'm back. It's been a long winter. Let me see. It's I believe it's April 5th today, and we're still getting a little bit of snow, but the lake has thawed. So this thing's been in the game / living room all winter long, close to the wood stove. I brought it in for the reason of, well, it gets to be about minus 20 degrees Celsius, 25, 30 sometimes in the winter. And when I purchased this last August, it ran amazing. I'm sure it still does. It's been stored for probably 6 or 7 months. The thing that I noticed was the first few, I'd say, days, maybe week or two, the thing didn't porpoise. It ran straight, wide open, no bounce whatsoever. You kind of had to keep your weight a little forward in the tray. But as the days went on, I'd notice putting it in when I'd go wide open, we'd start to get a little bit of a bounce, and I'd move my weight forward and it would straighten out a bit, but it was just, you could tell, it just felt a little more sluggish. And well, obviously we were getting water in the tray, sealed in here, the foam. So I used a hole saw. I ripped out 2 holes back here. I have these Seadog plugs. They have a nice rubber seal. They're a little bit bigger than the Yamaha plugs, which allowed me to not only run these air mattress pumps that fit snugly into the hole. You can run either so it blows air or it sucks air. I managed to get out about a quarter of a 5-gallon shop vac of water out of this. I just kept the hull warm and ran fans on it all winter just to try to get the moisture out of here. And turns out that I was able to get quite a bit of moisture out. Let me explain how I did this. I ripped out a hole in each side of this. I then shop vac'd out what I could. I then took a copper piece of plumbing pipe, 3 feet long, and I hammered it up into both sides, hollowing out a 1/2 inch hollow, basically a tube-like thing in both sides of the ski. And then that was to allow water and whatever to eventually make its way to that opening, at least to get some sort of air going back and forth. I've used this skewer right here. Where's the best place to show this? Right here. It's 2 feet long, but I've used it to push up in, go all the way up in here until I get fresh foam and pull it back out, and then test it to see if it was wet or damp. And it was damp further up. When I pushed it up on an angle, getting it up into here, it was dry. So all this upper area on both sides is dry. So I'm lucky there. The exhaust side really wasn't that damp. It was just about a few inches back. And I'll tell you where the water was getting in a minute. This side was wet a little further up. I'd say right about where the ride plate would end. And I've managed to get that out. The ski actually, you can notice the difference in the weight. The ski came with this Works Dominator ride plate, the extended ride plate. And if you notice, it's a 4-hole jobby. And if you know the square nose SuperJets, there's 6 mounting holes on the bottom, which I'll show you. The 4 bolts that were holding this in were about 2 inches long, so they were way too long, and they were threaded up, which caused whatever was sealing the top of the fittings, the thread certs, the inserts, had been pushed out. So it was basically letting water, there was no silicone in here, leak through these holes and up. But the center holes that are right here on this had nothing in them, and I could stick a barbecue skewer right up into there and poke into soaking wet foam. So that's where water had been getting in on this thing. Now there's not a lot of miles on this ski. It still has the original turf. It has the learner's elbow wear here on this side, but the rest of it's actually in really good shape. The ski's all original. I just have the fuel tank pulled out. I'm going to put in these new Seadog plugs using 3M 5200. Is that going to focus? So I'm going to fire some drain plugs in here with 5200, and I'm also going to seal up. I'm going to seal up the water line that's right directly there, the black hose going through the firewall. There's another water line around this exhaust tube, and there's a little hidden dude right there. Right, see that hole? There's a little rubber plug that goes in that, and in behind that hole right there is foam. Oh, here's another thing, the siphon line. I've removed all this. I cleaned out this, you know, you have this little pinhole in this little elbow right here that needs to be there because you obviously run this bilge down under your couplers, and this sits up high right about on the inside, right about here. Stays higher than the rest of the boat, and that will prevent water from back siphoning through your auto bilge and back into the ski. So I took it apart and cleaned it and blew out everything, all the lines, cut an inch off each side of the line because they were starting to dry rot. This is all original hose. I'm just going to run some green zip ties on all of my water related lines, and then I'll run black or whatever on all my fuel lines. I also am going to run some 5200 down here, put down the little rubber pieces that sit underneath the fuel tank, and yeah, I'm going to 5200 these plugs on the back, and then we'll go from there. I got a kitty here. Hey Ozzy. Okay. This is going to be a lot. Try to find that. Read it. Now, I do not want that too tight. You got some squish coming out the bottom. This little plug is gonna, let's turn this right on. This little plug's gonna go right in there, tighten up. So let's leave that out for now. So we will, like that, like that. I'd say that that's good. This is all gonna squish out, so put this in. Okay, get that half in. Let's get this. That. Like that. Okay. Cleaning this water line. Getting a good camera angle of this, but I am getting this sealed up. That making a bit of a mess. It's okay though. Just gotta slide that water line back on. I'm gonna slide this water line back on. And I'm going to throw some zip ties down. 5200 there, 5200 there. There, that rubber plug. And I'll probably do this exhaust hose right here. Take this clamp off. See the amount of silicone from factory? This green goop. Well, right here, they're right there. There really isn't any for about 4 inches all the way across, and then it starts up again down there. I've put the old extendo on, so we'll see how that works. Okay, so these rusty holes is where water was getting in. Well, it was probably getting in a bunch of places, but literally that goes right up into the foam. Well, they all do. Here's a skewer. That is foam. It's dry. I'm gonna shove this as far up as I can and let her have it, leaving enough though that I can thread the stainless hardware back in and use the proper stuff, not this 3-inch stuff that was rammed in there and caused the problems in the first place. So I'm gonna fill these, and then I'm gonna go through. There's a kink in my main cooling line right there. I don't think you can see it. Check the silicone here, these screws here. I might pop them out, I'm not sure, and then fill them with 52 and throw them back in. Actually, while I'm at it, yep, goes right into foam. That's crazy. Kind of laying a nice bead across here.
Miss Bartholomew got my teacher in trouble.
Who's Miss Bartholomew?
You said Miss Bartholomew or something. Well, the two. B, you were like this.
Something's holding me up.
Miss Gersakis. Miss Gersakis. Miss Gersakis. He's engaged. She's engaged to someone named Mark Gersakis. No, I didn't. She doesn't like headshot. You didn't like chicken ever? I was eating chicken nuggets though. Actually, maybe once.
I've removed the bumper rail and gone all along where the two parts of the hull are glued together and filled that gap. Pick that up, smush that across. Okay. Get that pulled it back far enough.
Going too tight here, folks.
Okay, quickly, something I was missing. I've glued down some rubber here. This 5200 takes quite a while to set. These were missing. Well, they weren't. They were floating underneath the engine when I removed the gas tank. And these two here are missing. So I went out and this was sitting in my X2. It's just another piece of rubber, similar. I'm just going to cut it into 2 strips and glue it down where it needs to be. And I'm just going to cut it perfectly down the center. Let's see how I did. How's that for bang on? Not bad. Now I just wash this with some dish soap to kind of get some of the grease off of it so I can apply it. Get this in a better spot. That's a lot better. Down this way. There. Okay. Just set that puppy right there. And I'm gonna apply it on this side. Same spot. And there we go. This one looks like it could come down a bit. That one could probably come up a bit. Fuel tank all washed, cleaned out, spotless in there. Still has the sticker. Like that. That should be glued down. These gas tank straps, they can usually come unhooked when you leave them dangling in there. So I stretch them around front and I use a zip tie just to hold them. But I actually use the zip tie in reverse so that when I undo it, I don't have to cut it. You just pull it. Just do one at a time. Bring this down. Hook it where it needs to go. There. So I brought this strap over and stuffed it under here to keep tension on it so we don't lose it. Now it's the battery box. We got to screw that in and we can finish this stuff up here. Put it down here. Find its happy home. There we go. There's one. There's two. Three. Undo this strap. This is the fun part. It goes between these two hookups. You're going to need to push the tank back a bit and hook that on. There we go. Fuel tank is strapped in. This goes across here. This one goes through here. That's tightened up. Fuel tank's good. Okay. We're gonna go black. And I'll go with some jumbos. Just above that nipple that I've extended, but it extends down past the bottom of this. So I don't want any chance of it, you know, almost touching the bottom of the tank or just off the bottom of the tank because it could starve it for fuel. So I'll quickly get a knife and cut that on a 45. And snip that. There. So now this can touch the bottom of the tank. I couldn't care less. And we've got a 45-degree cut here so fuel can go in. Slip that down. Not down yet. There we go. There we go. Down. Fire this on here. A couple ratchets just to not so tight that we crack the tank. I got to mount this E-box back here, and I'm going to use a little bit of silicone to run through these mounting holes here. She's a ready to run girl. I cut the wires back a ½ inch. New spark plugs. Got the E-box thrown in there. The coupler cover. Fuel lines all hooked up. Battery hooked up. And yeah, we're just going to let that 5200 cure. We've got lots of time, so that's basically done. And I threw some 5200 on these mounts for the chin pad because they had a little bit of wobble in them. And I think if they leak down in here, there's foam in here. So I just wanted to seal them up. And that's about it. Yeah, so I don't know if the video will end here. If it does, the next one it'll be it running outside. Or I could add this one in. Or I could add that video into this video. I'm not sure yet, but I'll get back to you. Okay, thanks for watching.